Hello and welcome to Dish Shelved with Adam White. It's the first week of August, so everybody knows what that means. It's GarbAugust, the great uh, booktube event started by Criminali and hosted by lots of other great channels. Uh, I thought I'd do at least one to take part in it this year. I don't think I did last year, but I don't know. I make my videos ahead of time and uh, just didn't get around to reading enough trashy fiction. Although it could be argued that a lot of the stuff I read is trashy anyway. But anyway, I wanted to do at least one to take part in GarbAugust, and to help me do that, I used the pulp horror magazine that Criminali has talked about on his channel, and I thought it looked really cool. And it's got a really cool cover there. And this is issue number 8, and I thought, well, maybe I can find something in there that I can read for GarbAugust. And it has in it a short uh, photo array for EC Comics. It has pulp horror reviews. It has uh, it has an article on books about giant crocodiles, which was very interesting. That there was so many. That was after Jaws came out and people started doing large animal attacks. There is an interesting article on Sabbat by Guy and Smith, and I don't know if after reading it whether I want to read those books or not, because they sounded kind of strange. But I may read one of them. They have one available on Kindle, I think the last one, but the other ones aren't really available. Uh, then they have just some other articles on some authors and some other reviews, and they also have a large section on it looks like it was maybe a German magazine that Grusel Creamy, I'm guessing Krimi, but anyway, it was a uh, really interesting magazine, and I'm glad that I read. I'm glad Criminali talked about it, so thanks for the recommendation. Really interesting magazine. I'll probably try to pick up another couple issues. Anyway, I did find a book in it to read called The Killer Flies, right here, by Mark Kendall, which ironically I read on my Kindle. Uh, it was available on Kindle, so I got it on Kindle for a couple bucks and read it. And the review in here is very short, but somewhat accurate to the gist of the story. It's, as you can imagine, about killer flies. Uh, there's a outbreak of flies that you're not sure at the beginning where they came from, and they attack and kill a trucker, and they attack and kill a little girl, which I'm not giving anything away because that happens right at the beginning. That's what sets off the whole thing. And what you're left with is the girl's mother and her sort of boyfriend, Sherry and Hutch, I think his name was. And they're in New Mexico, and they don't know what's happened, and they talk to the police, and the police put them off, and they're like, she was killed by a pack of dogs, and they're like, no, they saw the body. There was no way that dogs did that, or coyotes or anything like that, that there wasn't any bites and stuff, but they said that it just looked, she had been kind of sucked dry of blood, and and just was a really gruesome death. And that's also something that you don't necessarily see in a lot of books, is the death of children. So starting off with the death of a child was kind of a big thing, which worked for me. And um, anyway, sorry about that. Uh, anyway, so they go off to try to figure out how in the world she was killed and what they can do, because the mother wants revenge for the death of her daughter, even though she doesn't know what did it. So anyway, the story goes all over the place and takes them to meet a scientist and to meet the governor of New Mexico, and um, it just literally goes all over the place. It's pretty improbable, a lot of the stuff that happens. I mean, not just the fact that it's killer flies, but just a lot of the situations they get into are highly improbable that you'd find in a trashy animal attacks novel. Uh, they have a healthy dose of racism in it, um, against, especially against the Mexicans in it, and so there is some of that, and also just a nice dose of, and I say that facetiously, of misogyny, because even though the main character is the woman Sherry, she's, how to put it without giving anything away, but she just is kind of indecisive, even though she's decisive about trying to go after these flies once she figures it out what's going on. But she's indecisive about the man in her life, and uh, when men talk, she thinks that she needs to be quiet because it's time for men to talk. And so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that that just is not real progressive in terms of women. So, but overall, it was a fun book. Uh, like I said, it had its problems. The way they end up taking care of the problem is almost literally insane. um, it just is a really ridiculous way, um, that actually I kind of saw coming, but I thought, no, there's no way they'd do something like that. And they did. Mark Kendall did. And so it was a really crazy ending. And just, it was a short read. So I would recommend it if you're into the kind of stuff, into trashy novels and animal creature attacks and stuff like that. Uh, I would recommend it because it is fun. Like I said, it's not going to win any awards, but it was really fun to read, and a short read, and it had all your requisite uh, sex and violence and gore and just all the stuff you expect out of a trashy animal attacks novel. So I would recommend it if you do. It is available, like I said, on Kindle, so it's real easy to get digitally. There isn't any in print, which doesn't surprise me. But I was amazed you could get it on Kindle when I looked it up. So anyway, fun little book. Great way to start off GarbAugust. And I would recommend it if you do like books like this. So uh, thanks for hanging out with me this week, and I will see you guys again next week.